How do things like food, goods, and services get produced? So in talking about production, we're really talking about using resources, whether they're natural resources or human resources, to create items for use. And production is the generation of items. It is the processes that people use to produce food. So food, goods, and all of these things are then put into the community by distribution. So we might think about different types of societies and where production happens. We refer to this as the locus of production. Locus is just another word for sort of location, or the place where production happens. And in non-industrial societies, we might see that the locus of production could be a person, a group of people, or a household. So in that case, the household would be producing the food that they would then consume. They might even be producing a little bit of a surplus to bring to market or to trade with others, or to donate to their local religious institution. In an industrial society, on the other hand, the locus of production is more often corporations or organizations who employ people in order to produce items. So we see that the locus of production can shift based on the type of society that people live in. There's also gender role specialization in terms of production. No matter how much we have sort of struggled for equality for men and women, there are still differences in the types of things that we do and how we are compensated for it all over the world. One interesting thing to look at is, do men and women do the same kinds of tasks everywhere around the world? And in fact, the answer is no, they don't. In hunter-gatherer societies, men and women tend to do similar things. Men tend to hunt, women tend to gather and do other more domestic chores. But in fact, even in hunter-gatherer societies, we see some examples in which women are also involved in the hunt. Among the Agta people of the Philippines, for instance, women are responsible for childcare and hunting. So they strap their infants on their back and take their dogs out and go hunting. So while in many situations, men are responsible for hunting and bringing in protein from game animals, we do see some of these, these examples in which women are doing it. So what's the theory behind this, right? How can we explain why certain populations, would involve women and certain populations wouldn't, right? It's clearly not some kind of universal thing. So it turns out that it's parenting. Humans are the only species on Earth who have a period of time between when a child is an infant and that child's weaning, all right, off of the mother's breast for food, to the time when that child is self-sufficient. And that period of time is childhood. And in childhood, human children can get into a lot of trouble on their own. So they have to have adult supervision and also adult care. So in places where it is safest to leave the children in, say, the village or the camp, then often men will go hunt and women will care for their children, and also, being able to feed them whenever needed. They will be with the children back at the camp. But in places where it is safer for young children to always be with their mothers, then they will join men on the hunt. It's interesting to think that no other species on Earth has childhood and these kinds of parenting needs, which come out of our biology. Certainly, it is our biological imperative to rear our offspring to adulthood so they can be successful and pass on their genes too. And then in a cultural sense, of course, we care for and love our children. And we want to see them survive. So it's interesting to see that that the culture and biology have intersected in this way.